In this video, I'm going to break down our onboarding process and show you the exact onboarding process that we've used with over 2,000 plus online high ticket coaches so that you can just copy me and do it yourself. Now, there's a couple things in here that are very important that a lot of people overlook, and I think it's one of the most important parts to make sure your clients are successful. So in this video, I'm going to give you the overview of how this is all set up. If there's like every other video, if you want any more specifics on how a certain process we do, just drop it down in the comments. My intention is to give you the overall view and then break it down for you on what you actually need. So everything starts with a PandaDoc getting signed. My biggest recommendation when you're running a business, do not onboard anyone until you have the payment and PandaDoc signed. So for our company, the way it works is we collect the payment and we get the PandaDoc signed. We use PandaDoc, you can use DocuSign, whatever you might want to use, it's completely up to you. But the point is, with PandaDoc, the way we use it is the client signs and then the sales rep signs. The sales rep does not sign until the client signs and the payment is selected. That way, it forces it. So the only way that this process starts is when the sales rep approves that it is good to go. That way, we have ownership in one hand. We've had it previously where sometimes the sales rep will get lazy. They'll sign beforehand and then the other person will sign and then maybe they didn't complete their entire payment and then they start the whole process. So it's like you want to be very specific with it to make sure that, hey, the process is only triggered by one person with one deliverable, right? So for our deliverable, it is payment accepted and agreement signed. Once that's done, we have a form the closer fills out about the client that gets zapped over to Slack, which then alerts the sale or the CSM team of the notes of what we need to cover with the client, what their biggest pain point is, basically just giving us more information on exactly what we promised the client that we were going to help them out with. And then we also have a Fathom recording in there as well too. So the CSM team can go through that, look at the summary. And basically the way you really want to think about closing a deal is you don't want to have to go into the onboarding call, going over the same stuff that the prospect did on the sales call. You want to be efficient with it. And the best way to be efficient is to have your closer, whoever closes the deal, have the notes, have everything detailed, and then have the call recording notes so they can just pass it off over to the next person, right? The way I look at that is like we use basketball as an analogy a lot inside my company, right? And if you have your starting five in and they're playing and they've already learned the defense, they've already learned what plays are working, they're dominating. Well, when we bring on and substitute another person to come in, we want them to pick up on exactly everything they learned, everything they knew, so they're not starting from scratch, right? And that's the whole intention of this part right here. So the next part is the Zap that we use. So we use Zapier for pretty much anything and everything we possibly can. So the first thing is when the proposal gets signed, there's a Slack notification. We also have a Slack notification when the payment is completed as well. We have a payments channel and then we have a proposal channel inside Slack. From there, it will automatically invite them to the community. So the reason I'm actually recording this video right now is I'm setting up with my team new onboarding for a new portfolio company that I am creating. I'm going to be documenting a lot of that, the results inside this channel for you guys. But as we do this, for our current company, we use circle.so for my coaches. For this new portfolio company, we're using School. So you could invite them to School, Circle, WAP, whatever you're using, wherever the community is, wherever you're hosting your stuff. So if you're just fitness and you're just using Trainerize, invite them there. You should be able to zap and do all of this and automate as much as you possibly can. Next step from there is CRM tag onboard. We use Go High Level. What happens is when we have the tag onboard, we have sequences that will then, once the tag is selected, then it will put them into a client sequence where we send a welcome email, which explains, hey, here's your welcome email. This is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. Here's your onboarding form. Make sure you fill out your onboarding form. This is the most important thing that you will do because when you fill out your onboarding form, then you will schedule your onboarding call. Right? So see how like it's a step process that goes there. And when they send out the welcome email, it then puts them in a sequence for 30, 60, and 90 days to check in on them and survey them. Part of one of the expectations we have for all of our clients is they have to fill out a 30, 60, 90-day form in order for us to ensure their success, right? Because we need to know where they're at in the process. And I think this is where a lot of people mess up, is they bring clients on and they don't survey them. If you don't survey them, how do you expect to make sure you understand exactly where they're at? So we say, hey, this is an unbiased survey. You just have to fill it out. We need to know exactly where you're at, and we want you to be 100% honest with us. That way, if you're on day 30 and you're not showing up to the calls, you're not happy, or this, well, we still have more time to fix that. But if you're figuring that out on day 90, you're playing defense, right? One of the values inside my company is play offense, not defense. And the way to do that is to make sure that the clients fill out their form. And the question might be saying, well, how do I make sure my clients fill out the form? How do I make sure every single person does? You're never going to be able to make sure everybody does. You can't force somebody to do something. But for us, inside my contracts at the time of this video, we have a guarantee in place where if the client doesn't make back their initial investment within 90 days, we work with them one-on-one every single day until they do. However, and to be eligible for that, we have something called the rules of the game. And our rules of the game, there are basically intact to ensure that our client gets results. It's impossible if they follow everything that we do that they don't get results. We've never had one person follow everything. Actually, I take that back. We've had one person follow everything and then not get an ROI within 90 days, but they made it 30 days after. The problem was they couldn't speak English. So lesson learned with that one. Point being is it hasn't failed yet. And the reason we have that, and what I'm getting at with that, is one of the rules of the game is you have to fill out your 30, 60, 90-day survey so that we can understand where you're at. Now, another thing that we have, and it's actually not on here, this is probably like version 1, if I'm being honest of you, of like version 4 for like the actual breakdown of our onboarding, but this works. This is the foundation of it. We have another thing where we have end of week reports. So, you know how like if you have a sales team, or if you don't, one of the things we do inside our sales team is we have end of day reports. Every salesperson has to fill out an end of day report. That report gets added to our Slack channel, and then we can review it to see what their performance was for the day. So we decided, hey, instead of doing that every day with our clients, because that's obnoxious, let's KPI our clients. They need to fill out an end of week report every week so we can stay on track of their success. This has been probably one of the biggest game changers we've had in our business. And again, part of the rules of the game, if you want to guarantee your success, you have to fill this out. The reason we do this isn't to punish people. It's to essentially make sure we're tracking them every week on where they're at. So that way, if they're halfway through the program, we're playing offense of knowing exactly what we need to do rather than playing defense, where a lot of people go and it's like, oh, well, it's the end of the month. Do you want to renew, or are you happy? No. It's like, oh, well, why not? It's like, you need to know that within the first month. Like what a lot of people find in their coaching businesses is they try to fix the problem at the end. We fix it within literally the first 30 days because let's face it, we're dealing with humans at the end of the day. There's always going to be problems and conflicts coming up. 1 second, I got my assistant messaging me. Anyway, you could call back in 5 minutes. Sorry about that. I have a conference call I'm supposed to be on, and my assistant just messaged me asking if she could call now. So I want to wrap this up because, again, I don't want to do all these crazy edits. I want to give you guys what you need. So once you have that, we then add, them onto the onboard pipeline. So we have a pipeline inside the CRM where it's basically just we use our CRM for a pipeline for our clients as well, right? So like when they're in there, onboard complete, day 30, day 60, day 90, whatever it might be. And all those notes go in there as well too. If you like more information breaking that down, just let me know. But also from there, we push everybody into an Airtable. Now, I'm not going to show the Airtable right now just because there's a lot of client information I can't share. If you want more information on that, I'd be happy to do it. I just have to do more. I'll probably have to create the video and send it to my team to edit it. But basically, we have an accounts receivable tab inside Airtable. We have a client status and we have attendance. Little hint, another thing that we track inside our clients is their attendance. Yes, we actually do track that because we guarantee, again, if you want results, it's kind of like it's kind of like showing up to a college class. If you only show up to 20% of the classes, you're probably going to fail. They automatically fail you. So we do the same thing inside our company where you're expected to show up to a certain amount of calls to get an ROI because it makes sense. We cover a lot of the stuff on there. And then we have some more things in Airtable, but this is like the basics of like really what you need. And kind of like as I'm setting this up with a new portfolio company, these are the basic foundations that we're starting with. And then we have a folder inside Google Drive where we label everything inside Google Drive A through Z, and then C is clients. Under clients, there is an onboarding template. We duplicate that for each client coming through, and we add their resources in there. So they have their own folder. Any call recordings go in there. Any onboarding recordings go in there. We have we're very organized where everything goes. And then from there, as we have this Zap part done, which again, this part right here, the email pushes them to the onboarding form, which pushes them to the onboarding call. The next step after the Zap is the onboarding call. Now, what we do with all of this is basically in this email, it takes them to a video that has like, hey, watch this video to be onboarded correctly. And then step 2, schedule your onboarding call. And then from there, we have the onboarding call where we set expectations. We have a specific doc that we go over with them, and then they go live. And that's really what the process of the front end onboarding goes into detail. Now, we have a pretty juicy back end system of this to once we get clients, keeping them and upselling them and making them more money. Because again, if you're going to upsell somebody, you have to be really good at what you do, right? You have to, one, deliver on what you first say you're going to do, but then create a bigger problem that requires them to work with you more and more. And typically in our space, when we create a bigger problem, they're making more money, they have less time. So it's a little hint for a potential new video. Again, depending on what you guys want, I'm here creating these videos for you. Let me know down in the comments. Again, if you'd like to see more of a full end breakdown of how this entire process works on the front end of getting clients, I broke that entire video down below. You can watch that video and see if it's helpful for you guys from there.